will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. This bill is set down for third reading forthwith.
Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Phil Heatley.
I move that the Aquaculture Reform, Repeals and Transitional Provisions Amendment Bill, the Fisheries Amendment Bill No. 2, the Commercial Aquaculture Claims Settlement Amendment Bill and the Resource Management Amendment Bill No. 2 be now read a third time.
Order. The Minister must read out what the motion is. I'll ask him to read it again.
I move that the Aquaculture Reform, Repeals and Transitional Provisions Amendment Bill, the Fisheries Amendment Bill No. 2, the Commercial Aquaculture Claims Settlement Amendment Bill, and the Resource Management Amendment Bill No. 2 be now read a third time.
Just wait, because that's not what I've got on my sheet, and I just need to seek clarification from the clerk.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Honourable Trevor Mallett.
Mr. Speaker, can we take the bills as being read correctly by leave? Seek the leave of the House for notwithstanding the minor error on the part of the Minister, that we all understand what he's moving.
Well, leave has been sought for that purpose. Is there any objection? There is no objection. The Honourable Phil Heatley.
Mr. Speaker, I am delighted to propose the third reading of these bills. The bill will enable New Zealand's marine aquaculture industry to achieve its potential for sustainable economic growth. We need to take advantage of the international demand for high-quality, sustainably produced products. New Zealand has the ability to meet this demand, but our legislative framework needs to change. It must support growth while ensuring environmental limits are respected and the aquaculture activities are balanced with other uses of our coastal space. Aquaculture needs only a small fraction of our coastal space, but for the past decade, marine farming development has been held back by moratoria and legislation that has not worked well in practice. Good spatial planning that provides for aquaculture activities in appropriate places is critical. The bill simplifies planning by removing the requirement for AMAs to be established before consent applications can be made. This will put aquaculture on the same footing as other coastal activities and enable councils to plan for it in a similar way. Removing the requirement for AMAs means a return to a consents-based regime for aquaculture, but with some important improvements over the pre-AMA law to help councils better manage demand. The Resource Management Act requires a comprehensive assessment of environmental effects as part of the consenting process, and I fully endorse those provisions. The bill will foster environmentally sustainable aquaculture development overall and will enable the farming of new, higher value species informed by research. The bill balances the industry's desire for certainty with the rights of councils and communities to decide how their coastal space is used. The bill provides measures to enable the backlog of consent applications, including those frozen under the current law, to be processed. In most cases, processing will be able to be resumed on the commencement of the new law. The bill makes changes to the Tasman and Waikato regional coastal plans to enable applications to farm a wider range of species, including finfish, in areas where aquaculture is already established. The bill has been thus subject of informed debate in the House, and some important changes were introduced by the SOPs. In Coromandel, achieving substantial growth in the industry is important. It requires a shift to higher value species, including finfish. Coromandel isn't the only place where this needs to happen, but there is potential for harpooker and kingfish to be commercially farmed in the Waikato region. Research indicates this can be done within environmental limits and while maintaining a balance between aquaculture and other uses of the coastal space. This bill provides an opportunity in this area by establishing the Coromandel Marine Farm Zone as a site specifically for finfish species. The government has taken a cautious approach to the management of environmental impacts. The bill therefore provides for staged development of the zone with some particular consent conditions and careful monitoring to ensure any unwanted impacts can be identified and addressed early on. At the first reading of this bill, I signalled that the settlement provisions might be revised if engagement between the Crown and iwi found a better mechanism for delivering the Crown's obligation for any new space created by commercial interests. That mechanism has been identified in the supplementary order paper introduced on the 8th of August to ensure that the Crown is able to deliver through new space, cash or other agreed terms. The bill now enables the settlement to be delivered through regional agreements in a way that better fits iwi aspirations and preferences. This mechanism is the outcome of a process of engagement over several months. I thank iwi leaders, I thank their teams, I thank the Ministry of Fisheries staff for their work and those of Te Puna Kōkiri. The impact of aquaculture on fishing is managed under the Fisheries Act through the process of the undue adverse effects test. That process will remain. However, the bill now provides a firmer footing and strong incentives for both parties to reach agreement. The existing Fisheries Act protections for non-quota management stocks, customary and recreational fishing remain unchanged. Mr Speaker, many people and organisations have contributed to the aquaculture reforms and this bill in particular. I would like to thank Aquaculture New Zealand, their chairman in particular, and of course their chief executive, Mike Burrell. I really appreciate the input that they've had on this. I thank the members of the House, particularly the Primary Production Committee, for their work on this bill and for Shane Ardern's knowledge and ability to see the process through a difficult one. The Technical Advisory Group and more than the 200 individuals and organisations who made submissions and the group's report provided the initial framework for this bill. I also want to mention the valued contribution made by the local authorities, particularly Waikato Regional Council, Hauraki District Council, Thames Coromandel District Council and Tasman District Council. I'd like to acknowledge science providers, particularly Cawthron and NIWA, whose analysis and research underpins policy advice and informed decisions. Finally, I'd like to particularly recognise the work of Environment Minister Dr Nick Smith, Conservation Minister Kate Wilkinson and the Minister of Maori Affairs Dr Peter Sharples, who took particular interest in this bill. Mr Speaker, this bill provides a sound framework for the future of an important and growing industry. I'm confident this bill gets the framework right and I look forward to an exciting future. I commend this bill to the House.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. The Honourable Shane